Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles. I want to welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, where we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. In today's episode, the topic is the baseless beef between Doc Rivers and Paul George exposed. So that's the topic I'm going to get into in today's video. But before we get into that, I want you guys to please make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. Also, be sure to check out our Dreamerspro Podcast, which we have linked in the description below. And with that being said, let's just get straight into the topic here. So this story has kind of been bubbling and festering for a while now, for a few days at least. And it all started, it all started last season when the Clippers had their collapse in the second round against the Denver Nuggets in the playoffs. That's where really all of this started. And the moment they lost that series after being up 3-1, people started pointing fingers, right? And there was so much blame to go around. And generally when things implode, people are always going to want to understand why, and someone needs to be the fall man. And at the end of that series, Paul George made some unsavory comments where he said, we weren't expected to win and all of this, which I did not like. It did not sit well with me, and it didn't sit well with the general media. And after he said that, he seemed to take a lot of the ire of the public because they were pissed off. And they were like, how can you say something like that after the way you guys acted, talking trash to Damian Lillard and all of these different things? And then some people started pointing the finger at Doc Rivers, saying, hey, listen, where were you when all this was going down? How come your coaching staff wasn't making any adjustments while the ship was, going in the water? So Doc Rivers ended up being let go by the Clippers, and he ended up getting a job with the Philadelphia 76ers. And he actually landed on his feet pretty quickly. I mean, he got the job pretty quickly. Within a 2 or 3 week turnaround, he had a new job in the NBA. So good for him. Anyway, so we hadn't heard much about that story, but a lot of people had their speculations. But then Paul George went on the All the Smoke podcast, and when he made these comments, this is what sort of reignited this entire story. So before I get too far into it, I want you guys to take a listen to the audio of Paul George on All the Smoke podcast speaking about how he was used during his time in the playoffs or with the Clippers. So take a listen to this audio.
Getting a rhythm, getting a flow, working on my game. The timing right. So when I came back into the league and started playing again, I just felt off. Like I didn't feel like a part of the team. And then, the way I was being used, I felt like I was, Doc was trying to play me as like a Ray Allen or like a JJ Redick, like all pin downs, all like, I can do it, but that ain't my game. Right. Like, you know what I mean? I need some flow. I need some mixes of pick and rolls. I need some post-ups.
All that.
Just different touches, you know what I mean? And so it was just, that last season was just hard overall.
How tough was it going in and having that lead on Denver and then seeing them walk y'all down and walk y'all out pretty much?
Yeah, it was tough because, we was confident. We felt like, we went up 3-1. We felt like, we gonna win the next one. We lost. We like, cool. We up 3-2. We gonna win the next one. We lost. But during that whole process, like we never worked on adjustments. We never worked on what to do differently.
Now, in that audio soundbite, Paul George was speaking in terms of like, hey, listen, I didn't like the way I was being used. I was kind of used like being a Ray Allen, catch and shoot. Coming off of down picks and all of these different things, and I didn't like it, and it was affecting my rhythm. I'm a rhythm player. I like to get different looks and all of these different things. And a lot of people didn't like that because it seemed like Paul George was deflecting, right? They were like, why don't you take some responsibility for the way you performed, right? What did Doc Rivers have to do with the way you were completely inconsistent during the playoffs and how you even hit that shot off the side of the backboard? How can you blame that on Doc Rivers? So a lot of people seem to be pissed off. Subsequently, he came out during media day and he took responsibility for his comments. He said, listen, in no way, shape, or form am I trying to diss Doc Rivers, or I don't have any negative things to say about him. It was all of our faults and this and this and this and this. I take responsibility. I played like crap and all of these different things. So he seemed to kind of understand that, listen, this wasn't playing out well with the general public. And he went out and made another statement. And I was like, okay, he's done enough, right? He's done enough. And I think he's taken ownership of how the situation went down. However, just yesterday, I believe it was, a story broke where Doc Rivers was asked about this entire thing, and I'm reading this off of the Philadelphia Inquirer, And Doc Rivers has some statements to say. He has some statements responding to what Paul George said. And this is what he said. I'm just reading here. He said, "Hey, listen, I enjoyed coaching him." Rivers said of George. So let's not say there. Ty Lue was sitting right there next to me, so he better hope it's not just adjustments. It ain't gonna be much different. He then goes on to say, "Listen, we lost that game, and I think everybody needs to take ownership. Me, obviously. We can always do better. Players can play better. So as far as I'm concerned, I'll leave it there." Now, the moment I saw those comments, the first thing I thought was, here we go. Here we go, because the media is now getting ready to kick this thing into high gear. Now, let me just say this. In media, drama sells, right? Drama sells. Controversy sells. People are, for whatever reason, more likely to click on things, read things that have drama, right? And the media understands this, and they're going to get a lot of attention off of this. So I understand that part. And we, as a channel here, as a media company, we understand that as well, that, listen, drama sells. However, I think the media now is trying to make this into something bigger than it actually is. Now, I've had some people come on our channel and say, "Hey, listen, why don't you talk about the thing with Paul George and Doc Rivers' daughter? Do you think that can be an effect? Do you think that him and Seth Curry talking trash had something to do with him, cheating on his now wife then when he was dating, and now Paul George?" And I know this can be very, very tempting to talk about. However, that's gossip, right? We're not a gossip channel. And the moment we start going down that road, we're not really a sports channel anymore. Now we're just we're talking about news, and anything and everything is off the table. Now we can go into players' personal lives and what they're doing in their personal lives. And we're not interested in crossing that line, to be quite honest with you, because it's not necessary. It's like someone out there criticizing us as Dreamerspro, and they don't like the kind of content that we do. That's fine. But now, hey man, I noticed that if you saw on Charles's Instagram and his Facebook, I saw a picture with him and his this and this and this and Marco's parent. Come on, that's a little bit too much. So we're not going to go that far. I think this is the media trying to make it bigger than it is. Now, maybe there is some truth to that. Maybe there's an undercurrent of something happening there, but I don't know that. And again, that's speculation. We can only go off of what we know, and I think we should keep it to the basketball side. Let's focus on actually what happened on the court, what happened, in between games, as it pertains to their actual jobs, as him being a coach and Paul George being a player. I don't think we should get into the whole personal thing of, this and this and this, and because now then it starts getting, you're getting into murky waters, and now you're beginning to speculate and all of these different things, and we don't need that. I don't need that type of we don't need those type of clicks. We don't need those type of views. We're not that desperate for views. Now, I know a lot of basketball channels out there that are bigger than us. They call themselves basketball channels. They talk about basketball, and they talk about people's personal lives, and they say, "Hey, listen, we're trying to report on, we're reporting on news, and we have to talk." If that's what works for you, if that's how you kind of, address your conscience, then so be it. That's for them. But for us, we're not really getting into that. So I think that a lot of this is manufactured by the media. I think Doc Rivers responded to it because it was out there in the air, right? But the media is the one putting it out there. I think when Paul George made those comments on All the Smoke podcast, I don't think Steven Jackson and Matt Barnes were like, "Oh my God, yo, I can't believe you just said that," right? It's the media. And the media does that because they're trying to drive views and attention. So I understand it. But for me, I don't really think it plays a big role at all. But that's just what I think. So what I want to know from you guys is, what do you think about this manufactured beef between Paul George and Doc Rivers? Do you think it's real? Do you think it matters? Do you think it's actually going to have an effect on the Clippers this season, on the Philadelphia 76ers, given the fact that the coaches are with a different team and Paul George, they're in two completely different locales. So, I don't understand how it's going to have any effect on each other, on either of them. Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Again, if you enjoyed the video, please make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and if you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out some of our other videos that we have on the channel and this video that we have linked here in the end of this video. Once again, this is Charles here from Dreamerspro, wishing you guys an amazing day. Peace.